My final video wearing this shirt for a while, I promise. I'm just filming these all in one day. But these are my thoughts and hopes and fears with the Resident Evil 4 remake. Is it cool? Yeah, I'm kind of excited for it. Why wouldn't I be? It's another Resident Evil remake of a classic game. Resident Evil 4 was a very, very, very cool new game at that time. I'll be a little honest with you. Am I a little burnt out on Resident Evil 4? Maybe just a tad, because it's been released on every system that I can fucking think of. Even I think the fucking Nintendo Wii or the Switch or whatever had it. I don't know. It seems like it's been out on every system. But am I excited for it? Yeah. The things that I'm hoping to see in Resident Evil 4 Remake are definitely the giant fucking trolls from fucking Lord of the Rings. I hope they're in it.
They have a cave troll.
Those things were fucking funny and cool. I always thought it was really weird to have a fucking Lord of the Rings troll in Resident Evil 4, but I hope it's there just because of how fucking weird they were. The merchant has to be in the game. If the merchant is not in Resident Evil 4 Remake, I will fucking lose my shit.
Got something that might interest you.
He was one of the greatest parts of that game. It's something I still quote pretty regularly today, and I'm sure you're gonna see it on streams that I do of me quoting the merchant when I do Resident Evil 4 streams. But if the merchant's not in it, I'll lose my fucking mind. I hope Ashley in Resident Evil 4 Remake has a little bigger role when it comes to controlling her character and seeing, I guess, her part of her survival story when she breaks off from Leon. I hope it's not just go solve these really, really, really bottom of the barrel puzzles to get out of a room and then throwing, you know, lanterns at people and that's your only way to defend yourself. I hope there's something more to that. And I hope Ashley also does not need to be fucking like safeguarded the whole fucking time and can go hide in a box when you tell her to. I mean, I hope they keep that around because I really do not want to have to do, you know, protection quests the whole time she's around. What I'm also wondering about is how they're going to handle Las Plagas. Now, Las Plagas was something new in the Resident Evil series when Resident Evil 4 came out. To me, and I think to a lot of people, when I first saw it, if you ever saw John Carpenter's movie The Thing, the first thing that stuck out of my head when I saw the first cutscene in Resident Evil 4 when that guy's head fucking blows up and that Las Plagas creature thing comes out was The Thing. I hope that gets explained a little more of what the fucking Las Plagas disease virus strain was. Because when you're coming off of the original series, 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica, and the Outbreak series, when you're coming off of those and then you jump into Resident Evil 4 for the first time, you're very confused because you go from zombies and biohazards to this whole new strain of virus and creatures and monsters that, while still looking kind of Resident Evil-ish, was still something very different from the series that you'd never seen before and kind of always confused me of where they were going. Also, what I hope is in the game is a way more detailed and fleshed out system when it comes to your weapon upgrades, your health upgrades, and everything else when it comes to upgrades in this game. Because Resident Evil 4 stepped away from traditional survival horror into action horror, very much so. It changed Resident Evil forever after 4 until the remakes. I really hope they go into big, in-depth detail of the customization and upgrades you can do with your weapons. I hope they bring back the mine launcher. That thing was always fun. And I hope that weird fucking plasma cannon makes a return after you beat it on professional mode. What they have to include this is Ada Wong's Separate Ways story in the Resident Evil 4 remake. It was I think, crucial add-on for the game to see Ada's whole side of the story, because if you're not familiar with how Resident Evil 2 ended, Ada might have died. You know, you don't really get a clear answer if Ada was alive or dead by the end of Resident Evil 2. They kind of hint that she might be alive, but you also, it kind of throws in your face that, yeah, she's fucking dead. So you kind of don't know, especially around that time era. You didn't know. And it was a long time until Resident Evil 4 came out. And then to see Ada alive and working for Umbrella and fucking Wesker, taking direct orders from Wesker, was a huge step. I remember as a kid, I was like, whoa, that's fucking awesome. But they need to throw in Separate Ways. Ada Wong's story. They need to throw it in. It was a very, very much needed part of the game. You get to see Ada's whole story as Leon's story's going on. I thought it was very fucking good. They need to have that. If they don't, it could possibly fuck up the entire remake of 4. For me, at least. Something I also hope that they do is more enemy variations. When you start getting into the middle, or maybe like the third part of the game, you're almost done, the third quarter of the game, you are very, very much fighting enemies, the same kind of enemies over and over and over and over and over again. It gets a little bit repetitive, and by the time, if you have one of your shotguns fully upgraded, I mean, you're going to be mowing through them pretty fast, or the Magnum. So I'd like to see more enemy variation, and also, you know, just different creatures. There was only a handful of creatures I can remember from Resident Evil 4 that weren't people, if you know what I mean, with the lost Plagas disease. Things that I could probably go without in Resident Evil 4 Remake, if I'm gonna be honest, stuff that wasn't like super cool to me as a kid in the Resident Evil 4 game, was the whole minecart scenario where you're riding it around like a fucking Disneyland ride. I mean, that part was just kind of like, whatever to me. I just hope that, in reality, I hope that the game has all of the free modes. I mean, Resident Evil 4 is a game known for action, so all the free modes in there after you beat the game, like the Mercenaries mode with Wesker and Krauser and Ada and all the different people, and Hunk, I just hope that all that stuff makes it into the game as well. It would be really cool to see a Hunk side story thrown into everything Resident Evil 4, because you don't really get that except for the little mercenary mission or the survival mission that's in it. It's not really anything, to be honest with you. What I don't want to see in Resident Evil 4 is I don't want to see a shitload of padding. I don't want to see, you know, just a bunch of parts thrown in of us having to save Ashley for padding, or having to go do any kind of repetitive, you know, bottom of the barrel puzzle quests thrown in to try to just make the game longer because people for some reason didn't like Resident Evil 3 because it was too short. That's what I'm really afraid of. After all the stuff came out about, you know, everyone fucking, not everyone, but a lot of people fucking hating the Resident Evil 3 remake because it was too short, I'm really hoping that the Resident Evil 4 remake doesn't get thrown a shitload of padding in there to make it too long and just kills the overall enjoyment of the game, because you're playing stuff that's fucking boring just so people don't fucking review bomb the fuck out of this game. This is a side note. I'm pretty disappointed actually that Resident Evil 4 Remake is coming out before Code Veronica. Code Veronica I don't think ever gets enough credit. I mean, if you've ever watched me in live streams, I brag about Code Veronica all the time.
How dare you interfere
Ashford
with
is
my
so
operation?
fucking creepy and weird
What are
and
you talking about?
just random. Like I said, a lot of this stuff is why people don't really like this Resident Evil. You either love it or you hate it,
No idea
because
what
this
you're talking
Resident
about.
Evil is so weird compared to the rest of them. The story's weird, the atmosphere is weird, the characters are strange except for Claire.
Oh? You must be
It's just
one of Umbrella's lower level
an
officers
over-the-top
who are in command of a
B-movie
backwater race like this
Resident
one.
Evil game. I just love it. But to see that this is coming out before Code Veronica, it kind of peeves me. Maybe it's because Code Veronica is a longer game. It is, in fact, the longest game of the Resident Evil series. And, I don't know. I just am a little sad by that. But a remake for Resident Evil 4, yeah, I think it's much needed. I do, because Resident Evil 4, while the original game is great, pretty good, really good, won a shitload of awards back in the day, I just am very much burnt out on the original Resident Evil 4. So to see a fresh coat of paint on it and see a different take maybe in the story of where it goes, having more characters fleshed out would be really nice. I'd like to have more backstory on Sadler. Sadler was a pretty fucking cool boss and cool, you know, enemy character throughout the game. Salazar was hilarious and cool, and I just want to see more characters fleshed out. Ashley definitely needs to be fleshed out more because she was just an annoying side character throughout the whole time, and her little survival story stuff when she would break off from Leon wasn't super cool or fun in reality. It's just small little room puzzles that are like pretty fucking obvious that a 5-year-old could probably figure out. So yeah, not a super long video. Those are just my hopes and a little bit of my fears and disappointments about the Resident Evil 4 remake. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I look forward to talking to you guys on my Resident Evil 4 stream coming up. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. This is Retro or Die, it's Forrest. Make sure to subscribe and like the video if you like all this stuff and more Resident Evil content coming out. Anyway guys, I'll see you on the next video.
Thanks. When we get out of here, drinks are on me.
Yeah, hey, I know a good bar.